Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to make a quick video because yesterday I released a brand new portfolio update for July 2025, update 50 on YouTube. It was a big update, finally back on YouTube. It hasn't been taken down from YouTube, which is fantastic. I guess I gotta make sure to put all those disclaimers like I did going forward. Anyway, it's really, really good news, everyone. One of the reason I'm making this video is that one of the most common questions I get, especially from new viewers who come in to the channel, don't know about the channel. Obviously, this video is a draw. It's a very popular video. But in case you're newer to the channel, a lot of people ask me, how much do you reinvest, right? So this is the portfolio, everyone, that I unveiled yesterday. Not going to go through it. You can watch that video, of course. But I always get the question, okay, you're generating approximately this much here net. How much are you actually reinvesting every month? Well, the quick answer is as much as I could. And I'll give you my monthly routine in a second, where I've been following this monthly routine for a really long time, and I expect to follow the same monthly routine for a very long time. It's a very easy, quick, and boring monthly routine, which will answer that question, how much do I reinvest? But the first thing you need to remember is that I'm not actually getting this amount every single month. Remember that I do get charged a this is off the top, 25% withholding tax on the dividends on all the income that comes in from my joint cash account, from our joint non-registered, which is the majority of our income, right? Remember, this portfolio is our two TFSAs and our joint non-registered, but most of the vast majority of the income, as you could see here at the bottom, is generated from the cash account. So every month, basically, and this is because I'm a non-resident. So if you're new to the channel, I invest in Canadian listed funds. I am Canadian. I was born in Canada. I have a Canadian passport, citizenship, but I'm a non-resident of Canada. I live full-time in Panama for over 3 years now. So I've been a non-resident for a few years. And what does that mean? When you're a non-resident of Canada and you invest in Canadian listed securities like I do, excluding the TFSA and RSPs now, I'm not talking about those. I'm just talking about the joint, a regular account, you're going to be charged a 25% withholding tax right off the top before your dividends even hit your account. What does that mean? Well, that means that I'm not actually getting this amount net every month. I'm getting 35,413 minus 78,10. So 78,10, and this is forward looking. So this is how much I'm going to pay in August of 2025. I pay 78,10. So I'm really getting, about 27. What is it? Minus 78.10. I'm really getting this is how much I'm going to be getting in August net from the portfolio. Now you could see here expected tax refund. Why do I put that? What does that mean? And what does this mean here? ROC and capital gains are refunded as a Canadian non-resident. As a Canadian non-resident, everyone, yes, I do pay the 25% withholding tax, but next year, so in May of 2026, for example, and I got the same thing happen in May of 2025, but typically it's in May or in June. The portion of that 25% withholding tax that I've paid every single month, so going forward, it's 78.10. So the portion of that 78.10 that's considered capital gains, or that's classified as capital gains and or ROC, is refunded to me. This is why I keep saying, and I always try to hold stuff that only gives capital gains and ROC in our joint non-registered account. And as you could see from my expected tax refund, I get pretty much over 99% of it back. So the net income is correct, but I'm getting about 27K right now. And then in May of next year is when I'm going to get a huge influx of non-resident tax refund. So May is like a huge influx of income. So for example, if this is correct, which I could only estimate, but it's pretty much 99% correct here. In May of 2026, let's say this is my portfolio for the rest of the year and I don't reinvest anything or whatever for a whole year, I would get 77.91 times 12 in May of 2026. I'll get that 27K, for example, plus a $93,000 rebate or tax refund directly in Questrade. It's Questrade that is holding the 25%. And then once all the tax information comes out, which is typically March, April of the following year, right? When all your T3s start to get generated, and we know, okay, this fund generated this amount of ROC, this amount of capital gain, this amount of forward income, this amount of dividends, etc. That's when all said and done is when, okay, well, we've withheld this much, but this much was capital gains or ROC, and we got to give this guy back this much. So that's pretty much how it works. And because it's important to understand that before I answer how much do I reinvest. So for how much do I reinvest every month, the way I look at it is, this is really my portfolio. I always look at it as my paycheck or my bread and butter, as my main source of income. I've always looked at it that way. The initial thought about this whole style of investing was to replace our paycheck. So this is kind of like the paycheck, and it gets added, or the way I look at it, I do everything once a month on a monthly basis, like most people do, right? You pay your bills once a month. That's why the bills are typically once a month. So near mid-month, everyone, all the dividends come in, right? Which is net, what you see here, plus all my income sources. I have other income sources now. I have the YouTube income. Google pays it out once a month, typically near the 20th of the month. There's I sell digital product. I do digital products. I have one-on-ones. I have sponsorship income. I have affiliate link income. I have several sources of income tied to this channel, right? So that comes in every month, plus the portfolio income I considered as a giant pot. Then I pay all my bills and I reinvest the rest. That's what I do every single month. That is my super easy, quick monthly routine. So it's kind of hard to answer, well, how much do you reinvest? What I could tell you is that for the past long while, my business income, with the YouTube and all that stuff, easily pays for my living expenses. Just that. So you could look at it as I've been reinvesting everything back in for the last little while. You could look at it that way. You could say it that way. I personally don't see it that way exactly. The way I see it is all my income sources come in, including the portfolio, the YouTube income, the business income. I pay all my living expenses and I reinvest the rest. That's what I do every single month. So sometimes it could fluctuate. Sometimes I'll reinvest X amount because I have, more expenses that month. But most of the time, because my business income covers all my living expenses and then some, I pretty much been, you could say, reinvesting everything and then some, right? So that is basically me trying to answer the question that I always get: how much do you reinvest, right? And this is the beauty of this system. Some people are working and they have a portfolio, and then they have their job income, and they have rental income, they have business income. If you ask them how much do you reinvest, well, it's, what I mean? So the way I look at it is, this is kind of like my main paycheck. I have my other sources of income. They all come in. I pay my expenses and I reinvest the rest. Hopefully that's clear. I can't be more honest than that. That's just honestly how much I reinvest every month. The best, shortest answer I could give you is as much as I can every single month. I don't hold cash. I'll hold maybe 1 or 2 months of cash just to pay my expenses, because I do my income sources, including this portfolio, do come in Canadian dollars in my Canadian bank account and a Canadian broker account, which is Questrade. And then to pay my Panamanian expenses, my lifestyle, it's in Panama, it's in USD. I transfer money via international wire from Canada to Panama, but I don't want to do it every single month. So sometimes what I do is I'll convert maybe 20 grand or 25 grand within Questrade using Norbit's Gambit, or now they call it journaling shares. So I'll convert maybe 20 grand Canadian, 25 grand Canadian to USD in Questrade. Then I take that money, I send it back to my bank account. my USD currency TD bank account, and then I'll do international wires and send a few wires to make sure I have, 20, 30 grand in my Panama account so I could cover 2 to 3 months of expenses, right? So, I say I don't hold cash. Maybe I'll hold a few months of expenses, but it's just so I don't have to do this every single month and do those wires every single month. I do this and the conversion. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight into my monthly routine. But again, the routine that I've used and I'm gonna keep using for the very foreseeable future is very simple, everyone. All my income sources come in. I consider that one bucket, pay all my expenses, living expenses, and reinvest the rest. Give me a thumbs up. Hopefully this was informative for you. Do you have any other questions? And remember to check out my other videos, search my channel, because 99.9% of the questions I keep getting, I've already answered them in other videos. So you could always try to look them up yourselves. But either way, keep commenting, keep asking questions, because I'm here to make the content you guys want to see and answer the questions that you're curious about. I'm thinking maybe if you're curious, maybe for the PII Inner Circle members, which click the little join button in case you're interested, I could unveil to you my monthly expenses in Panama if you wanted that, if that's something interesting to you. But again, it doesn't impact, the routine is always the same, guys. It's always the same. My income sources come in, my portfolio, my YouTube, my other stuff, pay my expenses, reinvest the rest. It's just the easiest, most conservative, most responsible thing to do. And this is why every single month I expect my income and my net worth to keep going up and up. I always like to look more at my income, or the way I look at it is I want to grow my income rather than growing my net worth. But if you're reinvesting, even if you have a PII and income portfolio and reinvesting some of it or the majority of it, your net worth is going to grow by default, right? Because you're going to grow with extra shares coming in. But I love the fact more that you're growing your income every single month. So hopefully that was informative. Let me know if you have any questions, and see you next time.